Hello everyone, welcome back to another election prediction video. This time we have the 2024 Senate map for the month of December 2023. Before I get into this video, I'd highly recommend subscribing to the channel if you aren't already. We're on the road to hitting 1,000 subscribers and we'll probably hit there in a few months with your help. So I would highly recommend subscribing if you aren't already. But other than that, let's just get right into this video as I'm setting up all the safe states. So New Jersey, it's going to be safe blue no matter what. Bob Menendez has zero chance at winning the Democratic primary, so I'm not even going to waste my time in putting this as a likely blue state. It's just not going to happen. It's not worth putting this rating. Menendez has no chance at winning it, even as an incumbent senator. That corruption scandal, his approval rating's toast. It's like one of the lowest in the country. So safe blue. Whoever's the candidate here, Andy Kim, Tammy Murphy, either one would win this by a safe Democratic margin either way. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's just get into the rest of these states. So Missouri, I'm starting off with first. Hawley, again, some polling shows it as a closer competitive race. I highly doubt it. Missouri polling is always off in the end of the day. I just think Hawley would still win here by over 10%. Again, a more populist type of Republican, he would still do pretty darn well in the state of Missouri. So I still don't think it's going to be competitive. I think he'll just maybe underperform the Republican candidate by a percent or two because Lucas Kunce is a decent nominee for the Democrats. But other than that, Missouri's safe red. West Virginia, Joe Manchin has retired at this point. He saw that victory was pretty much extremely unlikely and running against Jim Justice according to the polling. So safe Republican. Democrats have zero chance at holding the seat, and it's an automatic Republican flip in the Senate for them. In Maine, Angus King is running for re-election. He's a very popular independent senator that caucuses with the Democrats. So it's safe blue hold here in Maine. It's not going to be competitive. Amy Klobuchar frequently overperforms in elections. So again, she'll probably definitely outperform Joe Biden or whoever the Democratic nominee is by a very large margin, probably winning Minnesota by like 15 points or something like that, maybe even 20. I would just put it like 15 points. In New Mexico, no good Republican candidates are running here, and they're pretty much just not going to try flipping this race, so safe Democratic as well. In Virginia with Tim Kaine, again, he's a popular Democratic senator. The only chance Republicans have at making this competitive is hoping that Hung Kao wins the nomination. If he wins, it would shift it down to likely blue, but as of right now, it does not look like he's winning the nomination. Looks like another candidate's fundraising quite ahead of him here, so I have this as a safe blue hold still. I just think that's kind of a pipe dream for Republicans to somehow beat Tim Kaine. In Pennsylvania, even in the event of a Trump victory in this state, I still don't think that it would even get down to lane blue, just judging by how much of an electoral juggernaut Bob Casey is in just presidential elections and off-year elections. I think he still wins by a likely blue margin. And the Republican candidates against him aren't even good anyway. David McCormick, he's pretty much an out-of-stater from Connecticut, and what we learned from the 2022 election in Pennsylvania is they really don't like carpetbaggers. They didn't like Dr. Oz, who was from New Jersey running in this Pennsylvania Senate race. They certainly probably won't like McCormick, even though he'll be able to self-fund his race. It's still not going to matter. Pennsylvania will be likely Democratic in the Senate. In Florida with Rick Scott, even though he's not the most popular senator, Florida is just trending so hard Republican nowadays. They just keep gaining in the registration numbers that honestly, it could even go safe red in the presidential election at this point. That's how hopeless it is for Democrats in the state of Florida right now. But for now, I'm having this as a likely Republican hold. Ted Cruz, I think he'd probably underperform the Republican nominee in 2024. So even if the Republicans win Texas by a likely margin, I still think the state of Texas would still be a decently competitive race, but Ted Cruz probably wins by 4 points against Colin Allred. He'll definitely increase a lot of urban turnout, but still not enough to unseat Ted Cruz. And now Republicans, if they win the presidency, they just automatically win the Senate. But again, Democrats just need to hold all 6 of their seats right here. Starting off in Nevada, again, National Republican Senate campaign did a poll of this race showing the Democrat leading by 5, and polls underestimate Democrats in Nevada. So I just think the Democratic incumbent here will be able to beat the Republican opponent here by a decent margin. Arizona, it's a very interesting race. It's a three-way race, and I just want to show the polling here. I think the polling pretty much clearly shows that Kyrsten Sinema actively hurts Republicans at this point because, again, she has a higher approval rating with Republicans than Democrats. More Republicans are even supporting her campaign because, again, Democrats are really angry at Sinema for obstructing a lot of Democratic bills in Congress, and they haven't forgot that. So Sinema has pretty much lost all her Democratic support. She only has moderate Republican support and just centrist independent support. That's pretty much all her coalition is at this point. But that's definitely eating away at Kari Lake's margin by quite a decent margin. We just look at these National Republican Senate campaign poll. It pretty much just shows that Sinema being in the race just takes more support away from Kari Lake. It's just a very clear picture, and just every poll shows that basically, except for Republican internal ones like Zagnall here, but they weren't really that accurate in Arizona to begin with. But other than that, I just think Sinema will definitely hurt Republicans here in the 2024 Senate race in Arizona. So let me just go back to the total Senate map. Okay. So that's why I have Arizona as lean blue. I just don't see Kari Lake having a path to victory, considering that she lost an easily winnable governor race against a candidate who didn't even debate her. Kari Lake's just a very weak candidate, and she just has negative favorables in Arizona as well. So, again, if they just ran a generic Republican here, they would actually have a real shot at winning. But they won't do that. They're going to run Kari Lake, and she's going to lose again, because that's pretty much all she's good for anymore, just losing and choking in Arizona Senate races and governor races at this point. I just don't think she has a path to victory at all. Okay, in the state of Michigan, we have an open race. It'll definitely be a competitive Senate race either way between the candidates here. I'm pretty sure John James is running as the candidate for the Republicans. Let me just check. Or no, it's James Craig. Okay, yeah. James Craig's probably going to be the nominee here. Again, he was disqualified candidate for governor of Michigan. He probably would have made that race a lot more competitive than it is right now. Peter May here, he's not going to be the nominee. He was just too anti-Trump for the Republican electorate here. I just don't see it happening. But again, it's an open Senate race. It's definitely going to be competitive in the presidential race, so I have this race as lean Democratic for now. Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin, she's a pretty popular senator. But again, there isn't no good Republican candidates running, but I'm a bit hesitant to put it as likely Democratic. She isn't as popular as Bob Casey is in Pennsylvania, so I'm putting this as a Baldwin win of 4% in the state of Wisconsin. Just being cautious about that rating. Because again, it's going to be a very close race on the presidential level. So the two most competitive races we're going to have in the 2024 Senate races, Montana and Ohio. Start off Montana first. Again, I think it's pretty likely that Tim Sheehy will be the nominee here. Some polls have shown him even leading against Rosendale in the primary. Rosendale hasn't announced he's running yet. So the fact he's waiting this long actively hurts his chances of winning a primary. The longer you wait, the more chance time goes by, the more people get made up on their mind on Tim Sheehy. And Sheehy has an impressive list of endorsements I could just go through here. He has a ton of U.S. senators backing him, the governor, U.S. representatives, and Rosendale only has like 2 measly endorsements here. So Sheehy looks pretty likely he's probably going to even be able to beat Matt Rosendale in a primary here in the state of Montana. So that's good for Republicans because I really think Rosendale would lose the race to Jon Tester here. But since the nominee I think would be Tim Sheehy, I think Sheehy being a more clean candidate, not having a lot of baggage, like losing to Jon Tester in 2018, that would definitely help him out here. And I just think he would narrowly edge out Jon Tester in the Senate race there, even with Jon Tester's pretty good approval ratings. So the state of Ohio, it's an interesting one, but I think Sherrod Brown has a lot better chance here. He just, again, Montana is like an R plus 17 state, and Ohio is R plus 8 in the 2020 election. So he'll definitely fare a lot better. And even in polls where Joe Biden's losing to Trump by over 10%. Sherrod Brown's still leading, which is just an impressive showing here. Even though some polls only have him in like the low to upper 40s, and the undecideds are pretty much very high, and sometimes they break for the Republicans most of the time. It's different because he's an incumbent, so he'll definitely get a lot better of a split among those undecided voters. So that's why I have this as a tilt Democratic rating in Ohio. I think Sherrod Brown narrowly holds on to re-election here. I do think he could connect with a lot of those populist voters. And Tim Ryan, he really ran as a more moderate type of Democrat. He didn't run as much as populism. So I think Sherrod Brown would kind of do the opposite of that. He'd just run as a very populist type of Democrat, and that'll just be enough for him to retain his Senate seat in this crucial state that the Democrats need to control the Senate. But I think the tipping point state will definitely be Montana, assuming that the Democrats win the presidential election in a 50-50 Senate. But if the Senate's 50-50, they probably end up winning. Just judged by that, Biden would probably actually help out in Ohio and Montana if he wins the presidential election. So in this scenario, it'd probably be 51-49. Republicans are probably odds-on favorites to take the Senate by a 60% probability rating, I would say. But other than that, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and leave some comments down below. Do you agree or disagree with this video? What states would you change? I'm interested in hearing what you think. Okay, I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks so much for watching.